Hey, this is Nautica Andrews.
This is DeAndre Cruz. Yo, it's Lat Lat.
This is Brittany Leanne Archery, and you heard it first at CIE Fashion Talk Radio.
The station that keeps you rocking with today's hottest music and yesterday's hits.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
If nobody told you, I'ma show you.
One of the best yet.
Welcome to CIE Fashion Talk Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Damian Sanders. And once again, you already know you are in the cradle with the babysitter, man. We doing it real big. And shouts out to all of our loyal listeners, man, that's tuned in to CIE Fashion Talk Radio. Now, this is where music meets fashion and where fashion meets music, man. And we talk everything that's going down in the fashion industry. And tonight, I got a very special guest, man. She's off the chain. She's an author. She has a hot book out there, man, that everybody's talking about, entitled A Southern Girl's Guide to Success, A Talent Guide to Fashion. Miss Carla Serenity in the house. How you doing, Miss Lady?
Wow, what an introduction. I feel like I'm already made it big time. Thank you so much. I may have to bring you with me everywhere I go.
Oh, that's no problem.
I'm doing great.
Now, first of all, thanks for taking the time to holler at CIE Fashion Talk.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Now, all day long, now tell us, how were you introduced into the fashion industry?
Well, I'm going to make the long story short. Basically, as a teenager, I always was one of the ones who my friends would actually go to when it comes to dressing them because, I had such a fly, wardrobe. That's what we used to say back in the days. So at that time, we used to borrow each other clothes, but for some reason they just kept borrowing mine and I would never get it back. So what I did was I started charging them to borrow my clothes, and from there it was like personal stylist. Fast forward a couple of years, 15, 20 years forward, and I noticed that there was a lack of diversity in the fashion industry when it came to the cliche of what a model is. And I said, I can't have that because I have a beautiful little chocolate girl who's not 5'9", who's not thin, who's not fair complected. Not saying that that's a big thing, but down here in Louisiana it is. And I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm going to create opportunities for you. But in addition to creating these opportunities for you, I'm going to create these opportunities for other young ladies like yourself. And that's how it just kicked off and just blew up. And I have young ladies here in Louisiana. I've had young ladies in New York. I've had young ladies in Dallas. I actually have a young lady in Philly who is residing in Dallas right now. And it's going great.
Now, the hot book, A Southern Girl's Guide to Success. Now, how did you come up with that title right there?
Well, I used to manage about 35, 50 girls at one time. And I would travel all over the South and the East Coast and the West and to get them exposure. Well, what I was finding out was that these young ladies are not being trained properly. They're not being trained properly, and they're not being informed properly when it comes to what it actually takes in order for them to make it. So instead of me going all over the United States with these young ladies, gas, planes, and plane rides and all of that, and having them have to pay so much, and you and I both know that these models don't have that kind of money. They just simply don't. They want to take pictures, they want to be seen, and they want to make it, and they have this big dream of being a huge supermodel, and it can happen. So I was like, one day I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take all the knowledge that I have, all the experience that I have, and I'm going to put it in a book and sell it for just $20. That way, these young ladies don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for seminars, hundreds of dollars for a boot camp. Here's your model book Bible, and take that, read it, find out where you can find out what type of model you are. Find out what you need with you at all times. Find out about photographers, release forms, all of that. So that's how the book came about. Basically, after all those years of experience, put it in the book and said, here you go. this is for you. It's my gift to you.
Now, since you mentioned the Bible and all that good stuff, now tell us, what would be your 5 commandments in the fashion industry for a model?
Know what type of model you are. Be real with yourself. Okay? Understand the industry when it comes to the different type of photographers. Do your research on them. Understand what a model bag is and why it is very important for you to have have what you need that is necessary in your model bag with you at all times. And last without least, have respect for yourself in this industry. Because if you don't have respect for yourself in this industry, it doesn't matter how you start out or what type of model you think that you are, you will definitely end up not being respected if you don't show respect for yourself. And that's all in the book.
Now, dig that. Now, once again, it's a CIE Fashion Talk Radio, man. We live and in charge and doing it real big with dope author Miss Carla Serenity in the house right now. Now, another question for you. Now, is there a particular age that you think a parent should start their kids off in this business?
Well, that's kind of a tricky question because there's so many different types of modeling that someone can do, from print, runway, commercial. I personally would not expose a young lady under the age of 18 to the industry, because if they go in, to me, from what I've seen, if they start pursuing it any younger, it may seem like it's starting out as the child's dream and passion, but it's usually the parent. And then when the child doesn't make it, or the child doesn't get chosen for a particular show or an acting gig or whatever, that child can be traumatized. That's from what I've seen. So I would say 19 and older. And another reason why I would say 19 and older is because by then they've graduated high school, they're in college, they have more of a sense of purpose when it comes to their future, period.
Now, in your opinion, how long would it take for an experienced model to learn good runway etiquette?
Oh my God, 4 to 6 months with me. And it's proven. Check it out on my website. Check it out on my Facebook, any one of my social media pages. If they do exactly what I tell them to do, not ask, what I tell them to do, they will be successful in 4 to 6 months. But here's a question nobody's asking. How successful do they want to be? Because we can meet someone and see them like, oh my God, they can go international with their look, their brand, their everything. But they could just be like, I just want to be an Instagram model. Get it? So it's their success on their very own level.
Now, I'd like to ask everybody that comes on this show this question right here all day long, man. I've gotten pretty much the same answer. Now, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of models in the fashion industry?
Who would I put? Naomi Campbell.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Definitely.
And then I would put a few of my girls, because that's just how awesome I think they are. And they deserve to be there.
Okay. And that's your list right there.
That's my list.
Okay, now
I'm not going to say any names because the girls are going to be like, oh, who's she talking about?
Okay. Now, what would you like to see more of in the fashion industry?
I would like to see these young ladies actually standing together and being compensated for all their hard work. I would like to see equality when it comes to photographers knowing that these young ladies who's out there doing what is considered to be a trade for trade isn't really a fair trade for trade, because most of the photographers, are not naming any, they're taking pictures of the young ladies and they're using it for their own portfolio, but they're not really taking it and actually saying, I'm going to put you in this magazine and we both can get paid. Or I'm going to put you on a flyer and we both can get paid. I just would like to see the industry kind of, change in a way where everybody's eating from the table. And once the models realize how valuable they are, then I think that could possibly happen. But we know models are being born a dime of, they coming in every day. New models are popping up every day. So it's kind of hard to grasp that.
Now I've seen.
That's what I like to see.
Now I've seen that argument, on social media between the photographers and the models about, bartering between each other, and and the photographers seem to really hold firm about charging for their services because of the amount of money they spend on their equipment and whatnot. Now, from a photographer's perspective, now how do you think a model should actually pay for their photo shoots?
Oh, definitely. I require the majority of my models to pay for photo shoots and myself. And let me tell you why. Because if you pay for, first of all, you're letting the photographer know that he's of value by paying for his services. Okay? Let me give props back to the photographer. But also, if a model invests in herself, she has rights to those pictures. She can choose which picture she wants. She can do with whatever she wants with those pictures unless there is some kind of a prior agreement between she and the photographer. See, that's what a lot of models don't understand. And that's what a lot of photographers don't understand. They don't understand that, hey, listen, if you're paying me for these pictures, those are not your pictures. That's like going to JCPenney's. That's not JCPenney's pictures. What do? They give you the pictures, correct? They let you choose your pictures, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Most photographers are not like that. So what I'm training my girls with is like, hey, it's okay to do a TFT, a trade for trade, border, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's best that you invest in yourself because it holds more value when you invest in yourself. You can take those pictures and do whatever you want with it. You can release it whenever you want to. You can sell it if you want to. You can do whatever you want with your images. And you don't have to just hurry up and rush and put them out there just because you got them.
Yeah, definitely.
I have pictures right now from last year I haven't released. And the reason why I haven't released it is because I have magazines that's interested in them. I have websites that's interested in them. So I'm holding on to those images because I know they hold value, but those are my images.
Most definitely. I definitely understand that, and that's definitely a topic for another day that I want to definitely expound on some more about releasing pictures too soon. It's like let the picture that you put out there, gain some traction if it's a hot shot. Most definitely. So okay, so far, what's been your worst experience in the industry so far?
Ooh, I can remember first starting out. I was just bringing everybody in. And when I say everybody, I mean, I wrote about that in my book as well. Tattoos, weave, wigs, braids, short, tall. We got our hood chick. We got our uptown chick. I was just bringing them all in because everybody wanted to be a model. Well, what I learned through that process was that quality does not equate quantity.
Absolutely.
You have to have quality people on your team, or you have to have quality people in order for you to allow them or train them to be successful. And I learned it the hard way. So when I started, releasing people from their contracts and just letting them go and, some on good terms. And there was a time where I actually was, they went in on me on social media. I felt like Oprah that day. I was like, oh my gosh, they are really going in on me. But it just kind of passed because I'm like, well, if they're not talking about you, then you're not successful.
Hey, and
so that was one of the hardest experiences of my life, was seeing all these people saying all these negative things about me. Only, mind you, to come back and say, Miss Carla, I apologize. And of course, they had to do a public apology, the same way that they tried to defame my name. So I realize now I don't just sign up anybody that come to me and like, oh my gosh, Miss Carla, I really want to be a model. I heard about your company. Oh my gosh, my book, whatever. I don't do that anymore. I sit back and I actually, they have to go through a couple of interviews with me and my team, and on top of that, I evaluate I watch their social media pages closely because you actually can tell a lot about a person. And I started looking at my company as a brand and a company that has a longevity here, as opposed to just a company taking pictures of young ladies.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, once again, this is CIE Fashion Talk Radio, man. We doing it big right now with author Miss Carla Serenity. She has the hot book out there right now that everybody is hitting me up about, entitled A Southern Girl's Guide to Success, a talent guide to fashion. You got to check that out. It's on her website. She's going to tell you where to find that right here shortly. Now, a lot of photographers been complaining about models not giving them sufficient time to capture quality shots of them on the runway. Now, How important do you think it is that a model follows that quote-unquote 3-second rule?
Oh my God, it's very important. And I've actually, what I do, I have a bi-weekly training with my young ladies, or anyone who's interested. Well, I take that back, with my young ladies, and I do the 1, 2, 3, and I make them hold it, and I actually train them to not be like, like 1 pose, 2 pose, just go with the flow, and they realize later why it was so important in the shows, because when you're standing at the end of that runway and you're posing, first of all, you can't make it look like you're posing like a child. Like Annie and the niece or daughter, like, pose for us, girl. You can't do that. You have to just kind of go with the flow. So I think I'm answering your question when it comes to posing at the end of the runway and having quality pictures. And the 3-second rule is so important. Do not overdo it, because it's overkill. Do not think it's about you, because it's not about you. It's about the designer's clothes you're wearing. And that's what a lot of them don't understand. So I think that's very important for them to understand why that 3-second rule applies to the end of the runway. Not just the end, but the beginning. And if they decide to do something in the middle, because, there's different types of runway walks that we have these days. We don't just have the high-end fashion runway. We have the high-end fashion, we have urban, and we have some, the one where you just get extravagant with it. But the 3-second rule still applies, regardless of what it is that you're doing, because you want to make sure that when the photographers, in this case, when it shows, they capture you doing your thing, but they also give the designers and the boutiques an opportunity for them to really sell their clothes.
Okay, now, I know a lot of models, like you said, they expect to be stars immediately in this business right here. Now, how important do you think it is that they do their job as much as they lean on the management, to do the job for them as far as their personality and networking skills are concerned?
Well, if you're part of Serenity's Closet, you have to be on point. You cannot be on social media going off on anybody. You cannot be on social media being negative. You have to understand the process when it comes to being successful. You have to understand this is not going to happen overnight. Sure, we're going to do what we have to do when it comes to, we're going to do that and everything when it comes to giving you that presence that you have arrived, but you have to give it time. I always like to compare the young ladies who start with me with major record labels, and I know a lot of people probably wouldn't use P. Diddy, but I love using P. Diddy because there's a lot of people on his label that just isn't ready to be out there. He's not going to push them out there until he feels like they're ready, and that's how it is with the young ladies. If they come to practice, then they're showing me that they want it. If they don't come to practice, they don't. They just want to be seen in a photo.
I dig that. Now go ahead.
So when it comes to a model and a management team, I've had, some young ladies started with me and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I'm about to blow up. And I'm like, nah, you have to take your time. And they leave. And when they leave, they go out there and they do, whatever little photo shoot that they can do. And then they come back and like, Miss Carla, I don't know how to negotiate. Help me negotiate this. They want me to do this. They want me to do that. Can you talk to me when it comes to this contract? I don't know what this means. I don't want this. I had a young lady who missed out on a major opportunity to go to Canada for a 3-month fashion show type event. It wasn't Fashion Week Canada, because I don't think they have that, but it was with a major designer and a major company. And by the time I got to the deal, when she came back, I couldn't do anything for her. But if she would have stayed with me, she would have had her free ticket, she would have had a hotel, and also a guardian, because I don't know them. No one knows them. You get it? And she would have been taken care of. She would have had an expense account. The money would have been wired prior to. Those are just some of the things that my management company has been very successful with. But if they feel like they can go and do it by themselves, that's cool too. I'm not knocking a freelance model, not at all. But I still feel like even as a freelancer, you still need to be educated and some kind of way be guided. And again, that's why this book was created.
Most definitely, all day long. Now, height, something like you mentioned earlier about the unfairness in the industry, like everybody's not a 5'9" model out there now. Now, what do you think about what can be done in the industry to accommodate models that might be 5'5" or 5'6" or something like that?
Well, you'd be surprised. One of my best models was only maybe 5 feet, little tiny thing. She was beautiful. She's still beautiful. And it was all about the angle. It was about the angle of taking her pictures. It was about what type of pictures we put out there for her. And it was all about her personality, to the point where we had so many people coming for her. It was unreal. And that was actually one of the cases where they made sure that they took good care of her and her expenses. They paid for plane tickets. They paid for rental cars. They compensated her for the shoots. They took care of her hotel stay. And they made sure that they wired the funds in advance. How often do you hear that, Damien?
Not very often at all. Now, with somebody like her, that would be that short. Like, would she have runway opportunities as well?
She definitely had runway opportunities. As a matter of fact, she walked in a couple of shows in New York. Definitely.
Now, I dig that. So it can be done. So there's no such thing as can't in this industry.
There's no such thing as can't. It's all about opportunity, seizing it, and personality, and what kind of image you're putting out there. That's it. If a designer loves a look, I get it. I get it. Most designers want what? 5'11", 5'10", 5'9", 5'9" to 5'11", right?
That's what I've been hearing.
I get that. If a designer likes a look, he will work with you. I know this. We were over at an event in New Jersey. I think you know what event I'm talking about. I had 7 girls with me at the time. I was really pitching those girls the whole weekend I was there. By the last day of the show, the designers made adjustments on their designs just to match the girls so that they can walk for them. And they were not. I had maybe 2 that was 5'9", maybe. And they killed it.
And that's fantastic all day long. Now, for those fans that want to find your hot book, A Southern Girl's Guide to Success, A Talent Guide to Fashion, how do they go about doing that?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Now, if the fans want to get a hold of your book, how do they go? How do they go about doing that?
Please log. That's the most important question, right? Please log on to www.Carla Serenity SERENITY.com.
Now, dig that. Now, for the fans that want to hook up with you on social media, how do they do that?
Carla Serenity, the lady with the big hair, because there's quite a few. There's only one me.
So there are quite a few, huh? Now, before we go, any quick shout-outs for those streets?
I'd like to give a really, really big shout-out to my son, Chris Baker. He has been my partner when it came to, he's really the one that pushes me when it comes to the success of Serenity's Closet and pushing me with this book. What many don't know is it actually took me 2 years to release this book. It took me a year to write it and a year to release it because I had to make sure that what I was putting out there was quality and something that can definitely help these young ladies and these young men. So shout out to my son, Chris. I love you. And shout out to all the men out there because we love you guys. We really do.
I dig that. Now, we appreciate you for taking the time, Miss Carla Serenity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I am so excited that I'm on here. It's like, wow, I'm on your show.
and we were definitely excited
for the support and the love.
And we were definitely excited to have you. Once again, it's the CIE Fashion Talk Radio. That was my girl, Miss Carla Serenity. I got to make sure y'all hit that website, grab that book. All the models in the game is hitting me up talking about it. We had to have her on the show, and you do know that. Once again, it's your man, Damien Sanders, and you just been in the cradle with the babysitter, and you do know that.